Good evening! This is the Oscar expert, and this is Brother Roe here, and we are going to recap the last 2 weeks of festival circuits. Venice Film Festival, Telluride Film Festival, Toronto Film Festival. The last 2 weeks have been absolute insanity. We've been freaking the fuck out. And boy, we've got a lot of contenders here.
Cole, tell us what happened in Venice this year.
Venice opened up with First Man. That was one of the biggest contenders of the season. And it is getting very good reviews. It's not quite getting like La La Land reviews, maybe not even Whiplash reviews, but people still think it's a great movie.
I mean, let's count the nominations here, Cole. Picture, director, screenplay, actor, supporting actress, editing, cinematography, art direction, sound, score, visual effects. I can't see any of those nominations not happening.
A lot of people think that this movie's gonna win. It's number one on Gold Derby. I don't see it winning because people just don't have the passion that they even did for La La Land, which also did not win. But one movie I do think could win Best Picture that also premiered in Venice, A Star is Born. It was destined to be an audience hit, but it's a huge critic hit. 89 on Metacritic, my goodness.
You just don't see numbers like that. I mean, the audience is going to be going nuts. They're going to be going gaga for gaga. And they're already crazy about Bradley Cooper. Both of them are getting nominated, and both of them could win. One or two. It's the number 1 or 2 slot for you. Whichever you choose is up to you.
Glenn Close is currently the number 1 on Gold Derby because people want to give her an Oscar because she's overdue. I think Lady Gaga could disrupt Glenn Close in the way that Eddie Redmayne took down Michael Keaton's campaign.
I think Glenn Close is still going to win for The Wife. I just think that that's like a big thing, and people really want her to win, and they're really pushing for her.
The only person who could beat Bradley Cooper, in my mind, is Christian Bale in Backseat, and we don't even have a trailer for that, so how am I supposed to know?
I think Bradley Cooper is actually the front runner and not Christian Bale, because we've seen enough reviews from him that the fact that he directed the movie and everything, I mean, he has a lot going for him. Like, he has to be taken down by Christian Bale. And Christian Bale's already won an Oscar. Bradley Cooper has not won an Oscar, so.
Bradley Cooper will also receive a producer nomination, a director nomination, a screenplay nomination, and an actor nomination. He will be nominated 4 fucking times for this movie. Let's count the nominations. Picture, director, actor, actress, screenplay, editing's a big contender, cinematography is a big contender, sound mixing, original song is absolutely, that one's winning, that one's done. The Shallows is winning original song, and maybe a second original song nomination. Sam Elliott also looks to be a fairly strong contender. 10 nominations, at least 9 nominations for A Star is Born. Bradley Cooper getting 4 nominations is insane. But what's more insane is that Alfonso Cuarón, director of Roma, could get 6 nominations, probably will get 6 nominations. Producer, director, screenwriter, editor, cinematographer, and then producer for foreign film. How many is he winning? Foreign film, director, cinematographer, maybe screenplay, maybe picture. He could win 5 Oscars. That would be a record. If he wins 4, he ties the record, and that record is held by Walt Disney, and that's a stupid record. These are like major categories he's winning.
It has amazing reviews. It has like a 94 on Metacritic right now. People are eating it up. This is a front runner for Best Picture. This and A Star is Born are battling it out in the same way that Moonlight, Roma, and La La Land, Star is Born, were battling it out a couple years ago. That's what we think.
That's an excellent comparison that I actually made. I came up with that one. It could be the first foreign movie to ever win Best Picture. It could also be Netflix's first Best Picture nomination and a winner.
Now, you might be saying, black and white? Not in English? Not in my language? A slow burn indie movie released on Netflix? How is this a front runner? It's gonna have a hard time getting people to come to the theaters to see a black and white movie, but on Netflix, people will actually go see it. Critic circles, they're gonna love Roma. It's just gonna be their movie of the year. Star is Born, probably more of an audience hit. Hard to tell who's the front runner because it really depends on who's voting. Why did Moonlight win Best Picture over La La Land? Because it was important. Is A Star is Born important? No.
So I'm seeing picture, director. I think people agree that Alfonso Cuarón's winning director. Then you've got cinematography, which people think it's like absolutely luscious. He shot it himself. It's probably going to win that too, I think. Screenplay, it's facing competition from Backseat and The Favorite, but it could win that too. Foreign film, it's winning foreign film. Probably get nominated for editing just because it's a huge contender. Sound! Surprisingly enough, we found that the reviews were really calling out how fantastic the use of sound was in this movie. So I think it could get both sound awards. That's 8 for a foreign film. The person who plays the maid in this movie is getting some hype for Best Actress, like some serious hype that's hard to overlook, but at the same time, this is Best Actress, in my opinion, is the most competitive category there, and I don't think she can compete.
And now we're talking about Best Actress. Let's segue into the favorite, Yorgos Lanthimos' most recent movie. We said in the trailer reaction that if this was his most accessible and acclaimed film, it could easily be an Oscar contender. And what happened? It's his best movie. It's a wild period romp. All the actresses are giving amazing performance, top of their game. Cinematography looks excellent. Art direction, costumes, total Oscar contender now because people just love this movie. It is a hoot. I can't wait to see this movie.
People are going to say it's one of the best movies of the year. I think it's a lock. I think Yorgos Lanthimos could easily get nominated for director because of how stylized it is. I think cinematography's in. Costumes, probably going to win unless Black Panther wins. Art direction, could easily win. Olivia Colman is getting Best Actress. Emma Stone is probably getting Supporting Actress. And then Rachel Weisz is competing against her co-star Emma Stone. They could both get in, like, that happens sometimes. You get 2 supporting actors that get in the same movie.
I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing just Emma Stone gets in. I think she's kind of a lock for this movie. Rachel Weisz is iffy.
Screenplay, it could win. Unless, like, Roma, wants to win, or Backseat's really good and that needs to win. It's one of those 3 is winning. Score is actually probably not happening because, like Yorgos Lanthimos' other movies, it incorporates a lot of classical stuff, a lot of stuff that's not actually the score. Peterloo, which is the new Mike Leigh movie, it got pretty underwhelming reactions. People don't dislike it, but it doesn't seem to compare to his other movies. Another movie that's probably not getting any nominations is The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, which is the anthology film from the Coens, and essentially, people enjoy this movie. Coen Brothers fans will have a good time, but people generally agree that the anthology is pretty inconsistent in terms of quality from piece to piece.
It did win the Screenplay Award at Venice, surprisingly, though.
Yeah,
so I don't know if it can contend for that.
It might sneak in for Screenplay, like, just because it's the Coens, honestly. That would be the only reason. At Eternity's Gate premiered, which is the Julian Schnabel movie with Willem Dafoe playing Vincent Van Gogh. Willem Dafoe has some Best Actor hype. He's got some hype there. The movie itself ain't getting any other nominations. I would say Willem Dafoe is really on the cusp. It's going to be hard for him to get in, but, like, he could even just surprise on the day of. 22 July premiered, which is the new Paul Greengrass movie about a terrorist attack in Norway. And people like the movie, but I don't see it getting any nominations. It's probably going to go mostly overlooked. Vox Lux is an art house movie with Natalie Portman in it. And this movie's getting some pretty good reception, but it's definitely not an Oscar contender from what people say. It's more of an art house movie. However, Natalie Portman is supposed to give a really good performance, and I read today that they actually might campaign her in supporting. Her character appears halfway through the film, much like Dev Patel in Lion, and previously she's played by a younger actress. I think she has a serious shot in supporting actress if that's the case. The Sisters Brothers is also a Venice premiere. People actually think this movie's pretty good, but they don't think it's incredible. So I don't see it getting any nominations. So that was Venice Film Festival. Then you had Telluride. They premiered Boy Erased, which was a big Oscar hopeful with Lucas Hedges, Nicole Kidman, Russell Crowe. This one got pretty good reviews, but the hype isn't there for a Best Picture nomination. Lucas Hedges is a fringe contender for Best Actor. We'll see how it goes. Nicole Kidman for Supporting Actress, also kind of on the fringe. We'll see how it goes.
Russell Crowe is kind of on the edge for his supporting performance, but that's kind of if they can't find any other contenders that they're passionate about, they'll nominate Russell Crowe for this movie.
Another Nicole Kidman movie that she might get nominated for, this time in the lead category, is Destroyer. Pretty good reviews. It does not have the kind of reviews that a Best Picture nominee does. The only category this is going to get in is actress and maybe makeup. I would say in any year, Nicole Kidman would be like a lock for this movie. People say it's one of her best performances and she's a great actress. But my God, the category is so crowded. She is like 5 or 6. If you put her in, you got to take out these people that you're like, oh God, how can I not include this person? We're really going to have to see what the precursors are going to do. Another actress contender is Can You Ever Forgive Me with Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy, people think really nailed it in this movie. There's huge support for her to get a lead actress nomination. I can easily see it happening. I find it kind of hard not to see it, especially because her co-star, Richard E. Grant, looks like a lock in Best Supporting Actor. It could even sneak in there for Adapted Screenplay.
And also, the movie is kind of a Best Picture contender. It's like slot number 10 or 11 right now for me.
11 or 12.
But it could get in there like kind of like Philomena, where it just gets in kind of out of nowhere. It's possible.
Telluride had a flop at the festival with The Front Runner, which was a Jason Reitman movie with Hugh Jackman starring. People just think that that movie's okay, unfortunately, and I don't see it getting nominated for anything. And then we had Toronto, which kicked off with a big disappointment with Outlaw King.
I hear the action scenes are fantastic, but those are given all of the attention, and the characters in the story are just like, no nominations there.
Then we had Beautiful Boy with Timothée Chalamet and Steve Carell, this father struggling with his son's heroin addiction. I had really high hopes for this one, but people seem generally somewhat underwhelmed. It's not a bad movie. It's a good movie.
People aren't giving it like A or 9 out of 10 even. However, people say the performances are excellent. So you got Steve Carell, an actor who I don't think the hype for him is extremely strong, so I'm really not sure if
he's
he gets
a little
in.
wobbly. And then you got Timothée Chalamet, who I think's a lock. He's almost a lead in this movie, and he could win. I don't see anyone who's a stronger contender to win right now.
I think he will win for this movie because people who review the movie say he's doing like so much, and he's just capable of such a wide range. It's like that kid in Ordinary People. He won Best Supporting Actor for that movie.
It's kind of interesting, though, that he would win an Oscar, because this could be the only movie's nomination.
Widows premiered at Toronto to kind of the reviews people were expecting. For some reason, this wasn't on like the top of people's Gold Derby list before it came out, and it kind of is still around in the same place. It's like hovering around number 10. This looks like a Gone Girl kind of contender, where people weren't really sure if it was going to get in, and then it got snubbed at the end. I'm not saying Widows is going to get snubbed, but the reactions to it were like, this is a very well-made movie. Steve McQueen's still doing great things. Probably not his best movie. You got great performances. Viola Davis, top of her game. Daniel Kaluuya in supporting is like terrifying,
Even
apparently.
Elizabeth Debicki in supporting, people say is really good. Everyone's saying, oh, this is too commercial for the Oscars, and at the same time, they want Black Panther to get nominated. I'm confused, but nonetheless, this is what the hype is. I don't think enough people are giving this like 10 out of 10 for it to get in. People generally think it's either too commercial or that
Too artsy,
it's too artsy, and it should have just focused on being like this heist thriller. It's still getting really good reviews, but it's gonna probably be like Gone Girl and just not get in. And unfortunately, that means a lot of the other contenders could fall with it. Maybe not get in for screenplay. Maybe fall out with editing. Daniel Kaluuya might not make the top 5. Elizabeth Debicki, as great as she is, might not make the top 5.
I don't think she's anything.
She's not getting a lot of hype, yet people say she's really good.
I just don't think
it's
she's
a weird
anything.
thing. Viola Davis, I might take her off my top 5. People still have her on. People still have faith in her. I think there's so much competition in the actress category. Some people might not view it as being quite as good as some of her best work in like Fences and The Help.
She's still Viola Davis. She's commanding in every scene. This is kind of her movie. Like, people are really expecting an amazing performance out of her, and they are getting it. I don't know, Cole.
I can't tell. I sense that she's going to be snubbed. You know, if Toni Collette wants to get in, Viola Davis has to go bye-bye. And Toni Collette
Or
might
Melissa
get
McCarthy.
in. Melissa McCarthy, I think, kind of has to get in.
I think she'll probably still pull it off somehow, even if someone else has to get snubbed. Gillian Flynn's still a contender for screenplay, by the way. I still have that in.
They could just give it a screenplay nomination and call it a day.
Yeah, they could.
Screenplay
I'd say-
actress, call it a day.
And Daniel Kaluuya. They could leave it in for a bunch of nominations. They could leave it out. You know, they could like Foxcatcher it, or they could Gone Girl it.
And then we had If Beale Street Could Talk, which is Barry Jenkins' follow-up to Moonlight. It looks like a lock. People say that the performances are great. Regina King in supporting actress, she seems like she's very in there playing the mom. And then you've got 2 great lead performances, Kiki Lane and Stephen James. But like Moonlight, there are just a lot of performances in Barry Jenkins' movies that just didn't get the Oscar attention. And these newcomers probably won't be able to compete with the familiar faces in the lead acting categories. But they're still going to get their fair share of praise. It could get nominated for Best Director. It'll probably get nominated for Screenplay. People say the cinematography is gorgeous. People love the score. It could win score. Nicholas Britell might win score, honestly. But First Man's really competitive there. Maybe an editing nomination as well. Yeah.
Regina King could win if Amy Adams isn't going to win for Backseat. I think Regina King could win. So she's like number
But
2.
Claire Foy could also win.
Claire Foy is not going to win.
The Old Man and the Gun also had a premiere at Telluride, and that movie looks like a vehicle for Robert Redford only. The movie is basically like an homage to Robert Redford-like movies, starring Robert Redford in his last role. A lot of people think he's big in Best Actor, but I see him falling out the same way that he fell out for All Is Lost a few years ago. People thought he was like a huge contender for that, didn't get nominated.
People are just passionate about Robert Redford, so of course they're putting him on. But
It's a
I just
career
don't know what's going to
nomination.
happen. It would be a career nomination.
Oh, and the movie's not getting nominated for Best Picture. Some people like to have it on. It's just not going to happen.
Let's talk about this surprise for you. Ding, ding, ding. We have a...
Surprise
what's that? Breaking
contender.
news. Breaking fucking news. Movie called Green Book. Has a trailer. You might have seen it. Viggo Mortensen plays an Italian. He's playing an Italian like this. He's doing a lot of acting in it.
He gained 30 pounds.
Mahershala Ali, his co-star, also a lead in the movie, although we're not sure if he'll be campaigning lead. He
Probably
might
going to be campaigning and supporting because they want to get as many nominations as they can.
I think this movie is like, it's a hidden figures kind of thing. They're not really tackling modern day racism. They're just saying racism is bad and we should all feel good and like join together and sing songs. It might not be one of the best movies of the year. You should just accept it. Green Book is an Oscar contender, and I think it's going to slip in there. It's probably going to see picture, actor, who knows where it'll be, and screenplay. That's what I think. And there's room for it. Green Book has a nice package to it. You can nominate 4 things.
One movie I think people are underestimating is The Hate U Give. The reviews have been really good for this movie, and people are kind of overlooking it because, well, it can't get that many nominations. If it gets in, it's probably just going to get screenplay and picture. But that could happen. It almost happened with Straight Outta Compton. And I feel like this will be that kind of contender because the movie's probably going to be a big hit. It's addressing some really important social issues. For that reason, people could really get behind this movie. But also, the Best Picture category is filling up pretty quickly. I don't know if it can squeeze in there. So just be on the lookout. Might come out of nowhere and sneak attack you.
It's going to be like the police brutality movie, so you should watch out for it. But the thing is, it would only get like picture and maybe screenplay. There's nothing really else that could get nominated. That's why I don't see it. We have a lot of major contenders, and you can make an easy top 9 out of it. And I'll tell you what your top 9 should be. Roma, Star is Born, First Man, Black Panther. Why is Black Panther still in here? Remember the conversation we all had about the popular film category and how it was important to nominate Black Panther for that? People remember, and they are not going to let it go. If it doesn't get nominated, people are going to riot. People are going to riot. The Favorite, that's 5. Black Klansman, Beale Street, Green Book, and then I still think Backseat is going to be a really good movie and also super relevant. So I think that's the top 9, even though we haven't seen Backseat. What's under that? Widows? Can You Ever Forgive Me?
8th grade.
8th grade, maybe.
And The Hate U Give, I would say.
Sure. Crazy Rich Asians? Crazy Rich Asians is Wonder Woman. It's relevant. It's great for the movie industry. But it's not one of the best films of the year. Okay? We'll leave it at that. Maybe it gets a PGA nomination because they like to do that.
That's our festival recap. What movie do you think is the front runner for Best Picture? And what are you most excited to see that premiered at these festivals?